Hey, thanks for joining us today in Midland Unplugged, our new radio series. I'm your host, Chris Nelson, and today we're interviewing top agent Cathy from Texas. We want to talk about what's led to her success and her advice to other women starting in the industry. So Cathy, welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk today about all the great things in our industry.
So I want to jump right in. How did you get started in the industry? I mean, why annuities?
You know, that's a great question. If I go back, I think about my career in general. I go back to like 2001. It was pretty interesting. I was just a life and health agent back then. And I was invited to go on to a radio show and talk about health and life and investments and products. And back in the day, fixed index annuities were just, kind of at the beginning of their inception. And we talked about the pros and cons of all the different health and life insurance products, et cetera. And when we talked about fixed index annuities and some of the benefits that they would offer, during this live show, and this goes back way in the day when we only had live calls, it wasn't like you would call in and it would be recorded and you'd hear it later, but it was actually a live call. And we received 65 calls about people wanting to find out about what to do with life insurance, health insurance, and also with annuities. 65 calls, that's a long time ago. I wish I had that now, but yes, 65 calls the first show.
That's fantastic. So, you started out in radio, you started with all of that. And throughout your career, what do you think is the one achievement that you're especially proud of?
Other than my family, which is amazing, I'm very blessed to have a fantastic family, but being a female business owner and having been on the air here in the DFW area for more than 2 decades and helping people on the radio and informing them of the different options that they have available for their portfolios and the safety and preservation of capital and, helping thousands of people. So it's really been a blessing to me. And it's really one of the big professional accomplishments that I've had in my life.
So with all these accomplishments, obviously, there are challenges that go along with that, right? So what's the biggest challenge you see for our industry right now?
I would just say increasing competition. As we know, regulatory compliance is really, at the forefront of everything that we do. Changing business models, making sure that you're staying up with, technology and also what's happening in the industry. And I think rising expectations from the consumers and also the do-it-yourself generation. More than ever, we just see a lot of people that think they can do everything themselves, but they don't know what we know.
So, Cathy, how do you reach those people? How do you get to those DIY people and kind of help them, show them the value in professional assistance?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest challenges for that population is through education and through podcast and through social media, we're able to reach out and maybe generate some blog articles, obviously, that are compliant. We have a compliance officer behind the scenes, but just making sure that we're able to give out information and then find out what might be appropriate for those individuals. But I think once we sit down with them and we hear what their goals and objectives are, trying to align them with what we have that we're able to show them and put a solid, plan in place for them going forward. So, it's kind of hard when you're do it yourself, when you're trying to take money out of a strategy that could go down in value versus having a guaranteed lifetime income stream, et cetera, where you can see that the payout rates are much more substantial, in my opinion, than what you could do on your own.
Sure. So what excites you most about our industry today?
Wow, that I will just tell you, just to see where it's come from. I mean, 20 years ago, to think what we have now and how we're able to help people, it just blows my mind. And I think when we look at all the products that we have available, being able to address the industry with, all the baby boomers, by 2030, all baby boomers will be 65 years or older. And by the way, I'm one of them. And being able to look at all the different strategies with 10,000 baby boomers retiring daily, to think that we have retirement solutions, that we have increasing income, long-term care issues, and legacy that solves the needs of many people as they're in retirement or they're preparing for retirement, just to think over the last 2 decades, how fabulous, in my opinion, these strategies have become. It really excites me because I can't wait to see when I'm finally retired, let's just say, 20 years from now, I can only imagine where this industry is going to be.
Great. That's fantastic. And I know that you've worked very hard to get where you are and build the business that you've built. And maybe a little self-serving, I'd like to think that Midland National helped you along the way a little bit. So how has Midland National helped you achieve your business goals?
Midland has been fabulous. I think one of the things is that I have access to the Premier Service Group.
Sure.
And that's like the elite group. That's for people the producers who I feel like that are loyal to Midland and have a certain production level. They've really added to my business practice because I have a dedicated business team. And let me just tell you, that really means a lot, especially with the amount of business that I do, that I know that I can pick up a phone and talk to somebody actually in suitability and new business. I have people that whenever issues come up, they always do, but being able to have a team that will go in there and find a solution and to help you is very valuable to my practice and also to all of my clients. And I will also tell you, with the amount of business that I've done, I don't have this premier service team with other carriers. And until you have it, you don't understand what it is. But let me tell you, when you don't have it with another carrier, you definitely find out how valuable that is. So being a member of the Premier Agent Club allows me to have the support of Midland National's fantastic Premier Service Group team. And they also check in with us too. So it's just not like if I have an issue or a challenge or I need something, they call me during the week and say, hey, is there anything that, is there a case that we can help you with? Or do you need more supplies? Or do you need anything? So it's really been a blessing to have that, as well as the marketers that we work with as well.
That's great to hear, Cathy.
Well, it's great for me to hear too, because just being able to have this is added peace of mind for me, that I know that everything is going to be done in my client's best interest, which is what we should always strive for.
That's great. So you've talked a lot about, where we've come over the last 20 years. And, they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So what I want to ask you is, somebody looking to get into the industry today, specifically women looking to enter the industry today, what advice would you give them?
I would just tell you that I go to a lot of company meetings. I run into a lot of different financial advisors in the community. And what we're missing is more women in this industry. And being a woman really gives me a competitive edge, in my opinion. And I would just think that if anybody's out there that's really passionate about, really looking after people's needs, putting a plan together, if they're thoughtful in their processes and they really want to help people, this is a great industry, whether it's long-term care, or if it's life insurance, or if it's fixed annuities, which is something that I really like, and also fixed index annuities. When you put all of these things together and you deliver a great solution to a family, I think women really have a competitive edge that they don't even see that's out there, because we are not that many in numbers, and it really makes us stand apart. So if you know what you're doing, you know how to take care of your clients, and you're committed to this industry, there's no better time than today to actively get involved.
That's great. Cathy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you for having me.